Pleasant evening and a very warm welcome to the national news broadcast. We are coming to you live from Rupavahini's news studios. I'm Delanjali Ananda.
Good evening, I'm Charika Dinipurarachi, and let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news.
$107 kilos of narcotics apprehended by the police in 2019 destroyed. 5 persons, including former mayor of Kurunegala Tushara Sanjeeva, sentenced to 3 years of rigorous imprisonment. The punishment imposed on a businessman connected to South Asia's largest VAT fraud confirmed. The second national conference of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna to be held tomorrow. Training opportunities for school children in the civil aviation services sector. 5 persons arrested over storming into the Indian Parliament. Now for those and other stories in detail. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena has presided over the first stage in the reconstruction of the Robert Gunawardena Mawatha in Kirulapana this morning.
The anticipated cost of the project is 250 million rupees. The work is expected to be completed within 5 months. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena was also present on this occasion. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that the President as well as the government have been able to put the country out of the debt crisis to some extent. He added that recently passed budget has confirmed the fact that Sri Lanka would be able to complete more work than carried out in the years 2023 and 2022. Prime Minister further said that the next to the Sri Lanka budget is the Colombo Municipal Council has the largest income and expenditure statement. There are billions of rupees in the savings account. Such funds also be utilized for creative projects for the benefit of the general public. He also said Minister Bandula Gunawardena has approved the electric bus service to Colombo. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that this was the project occasion of the commencement of a development project after passing of the budget. New hopes for the country have dawned with receipt of the second installment of the IMF aid. He added that the inaugural stage of the program to come out of the bankruptcy has commenced. The minister further said that the year 2024 will be turned into a year of country's working people.
Each of 5 persons, including former mayor Tushara Sanjeeva, who have pleaded guilty to the charges of causing damages by breaking down the Bhuvanekaba Rajya Sabha Mandapa in Kurunegala, have been sentenced to 3 years of a rigorous imprisonment today. The verdict has been delivered by Kurunegala High Court Judge Lal Ranasinghe Bandara. The prison sentences have been imposed on former mayor Tushara Sanjeeva, former municipal commissioner Kurunegala Pradeep Nishantha Tilakaratna, former municipal engineer Chaminda Bandara Adhikari, former work inspector Ilaluddin Sulifakar and backhoe machine operator Lakshman Priyantha. In addition to the jail terms, the accused have also been ordered to pay a fine of 13.75 million rupees. In addition, each of the convicts has also been imposed with a fine of 225,000 rupees. Former Kurunegala mayor had paid a fine of 37.75 million rupees and the other accused have also paid their fines. The judge has upheld the request made by Deputy Solicitor General Madhava Tennakon, who has appeared on behalf of the Attorney General to impose the highest punishment on the accused for damaging an ancient archaeological place in Sri Lanka.
Meanwhile, the Court of Appeal has upheld the conviction of the High Court over the punishments imposed on 3 businessmen who have been found guilty of the biggest VAT fraud in South Asia. Majority of the judges in the 3-member panel of Appeals Court judges have confirmed the High Court verdict yesterday. The Colombo High Court had earlier sentenced each of the accused on 20 years of rigorous imprisonment and fines. Majority of judges in the 3-member tribunal have annulled the appeals petition submitted on behalf of the accused and confirmed the punishments. President of the panel and President of the Court of Appeal, Nishanka Bandula Karunaratna, declaring his verdict, said all accused should be free from charges and released. However, the other members of the 3-judge panel, Justices Sampath Abekon and R. Kurusinghe, delivering their verdict, said as facts enough to justify the mediation of a court verdict have not been surfaced, they have rejected the appeals petition of the convicts. According Accordingly, the punishments imposed by the Colombo High Court have been confirmed and the appeals petitions were rejected. The culprits have been accused of criminal fraudulence and VAT amounting to 3.9 billion rupees to be recovered by the Department of Inland Revenue between the
by the officials of the Dangerous Drugs Authority and the judiciary officials and the police anti-narcotic division. Acting IGP Deshabandhu Tennakoon was also present at this occasion. Acting IGP Deshabandhu Tennakoon said that hereafter all narcotics apprehended by police or any other institution could be destroyed prior to the conclusion of the relevant court procedures by submitting the items to the Office of the Government Analyst and obtaining the Government Analyst report. It has now become possible to destroy more than 1,000 kilograms of heroin.
මද්‍රව්‍ය තාම කෙටි කාලයක් තුළ විනාශ කිරීමට ක්‍රියා කරනවා. ඒ මගින් විවිධභාවයක් ඇතුව මේ මද්‍රව්‍ය සමාජයෙන් තුරන් කිරීම සඳහා කරන කටයුතු විශාල දායකත්වයක් එමගින් ලැබෙනවා.
Narcotics brought to a cement factory in Putlam was destroyed under high thermal power. A discussion to introduce the Surakshita Hetadavasak program, which is being implemented according to a concept of the acting IGP Deshabandhu Tennakoon, was held at the Ministry of Education yesterday. The aim of this program is to protect the school children from drug menace and sexual abuse. Minister of Education Susil Premajayantha has presided over the event.
The Department of Meteorology predicts a temporary growth in rainy weather condition in many parts of the island in the next 5 days. The reason for the change in the weather pattern is the global disturbances in the waves of gases. Intermittent rains is possible in the eastern and Ubwa provinces and also in the Bolativ, Matale, Polonnaruwa and Hambantota districts. Several rounds of rainfall are also expected in the Kilinochchi, Mana and Anuradhapura districts. According to the meteorology report, certain locations in the Uva, Western and Sabaragamu provinces and also in the Nuwara, Galle and Mathura districts could receive heavy rainfall exceeding 100 millimeters. And meanwhile, the Mahapola Educational and Trade Fair has commenced at the Jaila Urban Council grounds yesterday.
It has been organized by the Ministry of Trade, Commerce and Food Security. Minister of Education Susil Premajayantha was the chief guest at the inauguration of the exhibition. The exhibition is comprised of more than 300 stalls. Minister Nalin Fernando and other people's representatives have also attended the event. President Ranil Wickremesinghe was scheduled to open today's exhibition. Minister of Education Susil Premajayantha said that around 140,000 degree candidates in 17 state universities are receiving aid. Scholarship benefits are being provided according to the income level of the respective families of the degree candidates. The minister further said that the scholarship aid is not adequate for the students. It is a challenge to increase the benefits to be granted to the recipients. He also said that the economy of the country is being gradually strengthened.
And meanwhile, a memorandum of understanding was signed between the Sri Lanka Civil Aviation Services Authority and the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation today.
The objective was to enlighten school children on the current affairs in the field and to provide them future opportunities in the field of civil aviation services. Signing of the agreement has taken place at the Department of Government Information. It is expected to train more than 1,500 students on the civil aviation activities through the workshops to be conducted at the airport next year. The Sri Lanka Civil Aviation Services Authority has selected the school children for the program through School Aviation Services Societies. The Airport and Aviation Service Company and Sri Lankan Airlines, the Sri Lankan Catering Company and the Sri Lanka Aviation Training School are contributing for the workshop program jointly conducted by the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation and the Sri Lanka Civil Aviation Services Authority. Director General of Sri Lanka Civil Aviation Services Authority and Chief Executive Officer P.A. Jayakantha and Chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation Dr. Prasad Samarasinghe have signed the preliminary agreement of understanding. The Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Aviation Services and the Ministry of Transport, Highways and Mass Media are organizing the program.
ගත්තොත් අද විශාල වශයෙන් මානව
Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva said that there is a massive shortage of human resources in the entire aviation services sector in the world. Shipping and airline sectors are also facing the problem. The minister added that had Sri Lanka sought solutions to the problem, then the country would not be having any shortcomings in air pilots and airline engineers today. He added that, however, the commencement of the program with even a delay should be commended. He had reiterated the need for the incorporation of school children in these programs. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said that the national television has the responsibility to educate children on the aviation services activities through television programs.
And meanwhile, a person who was taking pictures of the Agbo elephant using a drone in manner of the harassment of the suck elephant animal has been taken into custody. The Tirapane police station says the culprit was arrested according to information provided after receiving a signal to the Sri Lanka Air Force Control Centre in Mirigama. The Agbo elephant, which was shot in the left leg, was now recovered to some extent. Residents say that the beast was seen at the upstream area of the Ulagalla reservoir during the time of the day several days. Some persons were reported to have taken camera shots of the Agbo while animal was in water, saying that they were filming for a program. A drone was brought to the close vicinity of the Agbo elephant in order to take pictures. The residents say this instance Agbo had become restless. The person and the camera was apprehended by the police after several hours of taking photos. Preliminary investigations have revealed that the drone was registered at the Civil Aviation Authority, but the operations have not taken any permission for using the drone. When the media personnel went to report the incident at the time when Akbar was sick with injuries, the Director General of Wildlife has ordered them to take any pictures from a location 100 meters away from the elephant in order to minimize the pressure imposed on the animal.
The International Organization for Migration, along with the Ministry of Labour and Foreign Employment, launched the regional manual on reintegration for South Asian migrant workers in Colombo today. The manual provides guidance on best practices and methods of implementation for sustainable solutions that are inclusive and gender responsive to the reintegration of returning migrant workers. This manual is being piloted in Sri Lanka by International Organization for Migration, International Labour Organization and UN Women, with the support of the Ministry of Labour and Foreign Employment and the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment as a part of the Colombo Process thematic area working group meetings taking place in Colombo with 11 labour-sending Asian countries, civil members, private sector, trade unions and Swiss Agency for Development Corporation. And the manual was presented to the governments of Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, India, Nepal and Pakistan with the presence of Manoj Nanayakkara, Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment, Chief of Mission of the International Organization for Migration, Sarat Dash, International Labour Organization Country Director Simran Singh and UN Women Programme Specialist Nansiri Imisuk.
Thank you.
The Sri Lankan government advocates labour migration as a pivotal employment strategy, focusing on remittance and full employment. Our approach encompasses safe and regular labour migration, spanning pre-departure, departure and post-arrival phases. A key focus in the post-arrival phase in the integration of reintegrating migration. The government is committed to facilitating migrant workers' return and reintegration. This forum will explore the GOLS program's return and reintegration model. We appreciate GOLS for choosing Sri Lanka to pilot this comprehensive, inclusive model. Our migrant workers whose foreign remittance account for approximately 8% of Sri Lanka's GDP, return with valuable skills and savings. It's our collective responsibility to ensure their sustainable reintegration, sharing experience and learning from our another to enhance reintegration mechanisms. The returnees' skill, knowledge and resource including remittance, are invaluable. Supporting their successful reintegration is essential for maximizing these assets, benefiting migrants and the nation by harnessing migration development potential. I appreciate the International Organization for Migration, International Labour Organization, UN Women, and the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation for their technical support in facilitating this crucial forum.
State should facilitate mechanisms where all the multiple stakeholders, whether it is the financial institutions or whether it is corporate sector, are all brought on board to facilitate or support the reintegration system. And the reintegration fair Honorable Minister was referring was with that purpose, that they brought in the financial institutions, corporate sectors, to see how they facilitate and support, because they have a major responsibility in the process. But extremely important is to allow a space for the migrants to voice their concerns and engage them in the process of collective reflection, learnings from the experiences, not repeating the same mistakes and all, and improvising on that.
Under this Goals project, but also as the UN family, as ILO, IOM, working over the years, and also UN Women, on how can this reintegration process be made smooth? How can it be one that captures the various complexities of this reintegration, from labor migration to how can they be employed so that they're not devastated, the psychosocial aspects, how they can not necessarily become competition with existing people on the ground who are also perhaps desperate for jobs and good jobs. How can
The Largely Media and Propaganda Awards presentation reserved for media professionals of South Asia appreciate the professionals who contributed to enhance the sensitivity in social positions of males and females. The award ceremony was held in Tata Theatre in Mumbai recently. Sunanda Hettiarachchi, who had been engaged in services at the Rupavahini Corporation for 38 years since the year 1983, had functioned as a director, producer, presenter of television programs, dubbing artist and also as a news announcer. She had displayed her capabilities in professional life through the national television programs Prashansa, Ruvanara, Vanajalovin and Nugasevana. She had been presented with an award for her contributions in carrying forward the dialogues of gender issues in Sri Lanka. She had displayed her sensitivity in the gender issues through printed media as well. Veteran media person Vinitha M. Gamagi was also felicitated for her contributions extended through the Lanka Deepa and Maubima newspapers. The Ladhi Awards Presentation Festival, dedicated to South Asian medal professionals, is jointly organized by the Asia Conference for the Propagation of Women in the South Asia Media Field and the United Nations Population Fund. And meanwhile, Minister Prasanna Ranatunga says that Sri Lankan government will continue to have discussions with the Japanese government regarding commencement of a light railway project.
The minister reiterates that the project will be commenced without delay. Attention has been drawn for the re-estimation of the project during discussions between the government of Sri Lanka and Japan. The reason being an increase in the anticipated expenditure as a result of the COVID pandemic and the economic crisis. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga expresses hope of reactivating the land acquisition program and provision of common facilities according to the decision taken at the government level talks between the two countries.
The story of human interest is about a grandmother and a granddaughter in Malwala, Ratnapura, who have become an example to the entire society trying to stand up on their own effort. Pushpalata, after the demise of her husband, was left alone in the world with her two children. They were compelled to engage in extremely rigorous activities to maintain their livelihoods. The courageous grandmother had chosen her profession for the sake of well-being of the family. Pushpalata's granddaughter Dulani Hansika is a grade 7 student at the Ratnapura Malwala Central College. The child is skillfully engaging in putting patches in tires from big and small vehicles. She had learned the job from the grandmother and is hoping to become an engineer.
And we have more news from home in brief. Many pincomers were conducted in connection with the 80th birthday of chief incumbent of the Ganga Rama Vihara, Venerable Galaboda Gnanisaratthera today. The 8th South China Sea Regional Roundtable Conference, which was attended by religious representatives of 41 countries, has ended at the Vihara premises. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa has participated as a special invitee of the pincomers conducted under the patronage of Venerable Dr. Kirinde Asajithera. Princess Anne of United Kingdom is scheduled to engage in a 3-day official tour in Sri Lanka commencing on the 10th of next month. She will be arriving in the island on an invitation extended by Sri Lankan government in connection with the completion of 75 years of diplomatic relations between Sri Lanka and the United Kingdom. A commemoration stamp and a first-day cover was released in connection with the 50th anniversary of the University of Moratuwa at the Postal headquarters today. The item were presented to the Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University, Dr. D.P. Chandrasekhara. We'll be back with international news after this break.
Sunrise and treats bring a taste of Christmas to your home with Prima family. Wishing you a joyful Christmas from Prima.
Welcome back with foreign stories. As many as 6 people are said to have been involved in the Indian Parliament security breach which happened yesterday.
Indian media reports that one suspect is on the run who supposedly gave shelter and hatched the plan. Sagar Sharma and Manoranjan D have been identified as the main perpetrators who scaled the public gallery fence and jumped amongst the lawmakers before unleashing the yellow smoke canisters. Sagar Sharma was the first to jump before 35-year-old Manoranjan joined him and caused chaos. According to initial police reports and eyewitnesses, the intruders had hidden the canisters in their shoes. Notably, Manoranjan is an engineering graduate having pursued his bachelor's in computer science from Vivekananda University in Bengaluru. It is reported that both intruders had visitors pass in the name of Bharatiya Janata Party issued by lawmaker Pratap Simha for southern India's Mysuru constituency.
An Israeli foreign minister has said it will continue the war in Gaza with or without international support. Eli Cohen warned that a ceasefire at this stage of the conflict would be a gift to Hamas and allow it to return. Israel is facing mounting pressure over the number of Palestinian civilians killed by its military in Gaza and worsening humanitarian crisis there. On Tuesday, the UN General Assembly overwhelmingly adopted a resolution calling for immediate ceasefire, and in his strongest comments yet, US President Joe Biden said that Israel is losing support worldwide because of its indiscriminate bombing of Gaza. Intense fighting continued in both the north and south of Gaza. In makeshift tents or out in the open. Expressing his views in the passing of General Assembly vote and President Biden's warning, Eli Cohen told a visiting diplomat that Israel will continue the war against Hamas with or without international support. He further went to say on that a ceasefire at the current stage is a gift to the terrorist organization Hamas and it threatens the residents of Israel.
Wishing you a joyful Christmas from Prima.
And the Sri Lankan team was evicted from the Under-19 Asia Cup cricket tournament as a result of losing to the Bangladesh team.
The Sri Lanka team was participating in a preliminary round match yesterday against the Bangladesh team and scored 200 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in 50 overs. The Bangladesh team had scored 204 runs, losing 5 wickets in 40 overs and won the match. Ashik Rahman was unbeaten with 116 runs. An inter-club one-day cricket tournament organised by the Sri Lanka Cricket has commenced yesterday. The Bloomfield team beat BRC team in the opening match. The BRC team were all out for 145 runs in 33 overs. The Bloomfield team has secured the victory target of 146 runs in 33 overs and 3 deliveries, losing only 4 wickets. In another match between the SSC and BRC teams of the tournament, the SSC team has secured victory. The SSC team at the end of 49 overs and 2 deliveries were all out for 267 runs. The BRC team was able to score only 253 runs all out at the end of 49 overs and 1 delivery. In another match of the tournament played at the Coles Cricket Club grounds, Coles team has recorded victory. The Galle team has scored 188 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in 36 overs. As